Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Bubbling with energy right now. Bubbling with energy. Hold on. Okay. Let's do our disclaimer. Video tools for every video. Let's see. Okay. Disclaimer, the videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at your institution you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of creator Henry is only speaking from his experience. Let me close that out. So, first thing first, we have our scholarships still worth it? So, I got my pen out, guys. Hold on. So, this is very, I really didn't do any research on this one. Um, yeah, I didn't do any real research on this one. So, this one just about are scholarships still worth it? I feel like experience is better than research when it comes to scholarships because scholarships are tricky. Only certain people get scholarships. And that's as simply as I could put it. Now, you can get a scholarship from your local city or in your local city, the state, or and it goes detail, right? If you're in your city, you can get it from your local church. You can get it from your local fast food or something, or your school. If you have those great connections with your school and high school, you might can get one in middle school if you're that talented. I personally was never a fan of scholarships because it wasn't enough. I feel like, and I was at a 2 year when I got one. My instructor recommended me for one, and so when I hear scholarships, I hear a lot of students say, "Oh, I have $5,000 in scholarship money, or $10,000 in scholarship money," or they might say, "I have a $2,500 in scholarship money." And my thing about that is, if you have, let's just write it down, 25. If you have 5,000, if you have 10,000, 2,500 is not enough. It's not enough scholarship money to pay for school unless you're at a 2 year. Even if you're at a 2 year, it might not be enough. It can probably cover you one semester, but it won't be able to cover you that next semester. And then if the scholarship is, what's that word? You can rinse it and repeat it. I like to say rinse and repeat it. So if that scholarship is where, oh, you use the first, we talking about the 2,500. If you use the whole 2,500 within 1 year, do you get it again for the upcoming and next fall semester? That's a good scholarship. But most scholarships I've seen and dealt with, they were one-time use. Like once you use up this 2,500, it's pretty much it. So that's my opinion on the 2,500 a scholarship. Now, if you get a 5,000 one, it's the same situation, and then a 10,000. But even if, like we talked about, students are going to college where their tuition is equaling up to $50,000 to $100,000, and it could be higher. If you add up the 2,500, for example, and the 5,000, that's example, and the 10,000, for example, that's 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 plus 2 is 17. That's 17,500. $17,500 if you stand on campus and getting the dorms, the meal plans, and the room and board. That's not even enough to cover you for your 4 years of college, which is very sad because even if your scholarships, even if you combine all of these, for example, you still won't have enough. And a lot of students, I don't think that far when they use a scholarship. Normally, they say I have scholarship money, and then they end up back where they're from. And the last thing you want to do is while you're in college is go back home. That's just I think only college students can relate to that. The whole goal was to, the goal is to lead up to going away, but not to come right back when I leave. That's just how it works. And so I wanted to talk about the scholarships because scholarships, they're helpful, they're very useful, but not everyone gets them. I don't want you relying heavily on scholarships because you should rely on your own money that you're bringing in and then add that or combine that with your scholarship. So you might say, well, I got $2,500 in scholarship money and I want to use some of my money I got from my job that I work. So I'll probably use about 500 of it. I'll pay let's just say your schooling is, once again, a 2 year is possible. Let's just say your schooling is, at a 2 year is 1,500. You might say, oh, I'll use $500 for my scholarship and pay 1,000 with my own money. And I feel like that's how you should use a scholarship. I was on my hands like this, but y'all couldn't see it. That's how I feel you should use a scholarship because scholarships are just like, to me, they're discounts. They're like discounts. When you apply a discount, what it takes off the total amount. Same thing with a scholarship. It just takes off the total amount of the tuition. And so scholarships, and look into where you can get scholarships though. You can get scholarships in a lot of places you probably didn't think you can get scholarships. So I would say always look at foundations, look at like companies. Like I said, fast food, they got foundations. Look into those, and try. Like try not to do the rigged ones. Try to do what's considered a red scholarship. I would say what's considered a red scholarship are the ones like, I would say, it's not really red, but it's red to me because it's a person picking. Once again, if a person is picking who gets a scholarship, you have to hope they don't know somebody, right? Because I know in higher education from experience, if now for one, scholarships could be in different departments of higher education because you can get scholarships while you're at your college. But if somebody has worked that connection in college, like those them SGA presidents, those SGA members, for example, they have good connections with who? The people who work in the college. So, so if they got good connections with the people who work in the college, guess what? They have a better chance of getting a scholarship over someone who applied and don't know nobody in the institution. So is it rigged? I would say unfair / rigged, but they built the connection. So you have to think about doing the same thing. And then when you apply for the other ones, it can be the same situation, but I doubt somebody's going to know someone, like, I doubt someone at the institution you're attending is going to know somebody else, like at a scholarship opportunity that's you apply to that's out of state, but they're giving it to recipients in another state, or, a scholarship is a scholarship. So you might be in one state, but you can still apply for out of state scholarships that you can use. Now with scholarships, to get some game, I would say use scholarships. I would say right now to get a free scholarship to help yourself, AI. AI. Think ahead. AI. They don't have no security for it yet. So AI it up. and get the scholarship. Other people are doing it from experience. Other people are chat GBT scholarships. I personally never did because I didn't want to waste my time or little time on a scholarship I knew I was highly likely not to get. I just never been a good scholarship winner. It's just some things about not being a scholarship winner, but I've seen other people be pretty good at them. So if you can combine getting a scholarship starting at a 2 year, and then once you get that scholarship, and then start at 2 years at Bridge, then do your 2 years there, maybe 3 years, because I stayed at my 2 year, 3 years, and then do what you need to do, then bridge to your 4 year, you be in good shape. But a lot of times I see students from experience, they get the big scholarship. They get like a $10,000 scholarship or $5,000 scholarship, and they'll take it to the university. That ain't good. They'll take it to the university out the gate, and only because it's not good because the university is naturally higher than a 2 year. So the university is going to run out quicker. It's not even like shading a university. It's factual, right? Like we're just being factual now. We're being reasonable. And so let me go into the room, guys. I gotta go to the room right quick. No, guys, not showing. Where is it? I think I'm having another brain fart. I have brain farts in the morning sometimes. I'm like, where is it? There it go. It wasn't popping up. I was doing the wrong thing. I'm going to the room, so if somebody comment. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, when you go in, so don't take all your scholarship money and go straight to university, especially if you're fresh out of high school. I don't think that's a good idea. And this is the new way. Starting at a 2 year, bridging to a 4 year. This is the new way. Once again, I've done my research. It's not even much research on bridging from a 2 year to a 4 year. Like when they talk about a 2 year, they're talking about it, oh, get a trade there. They're not talking about that you can knock out your prerequisites at a 2 year and then do your major program classes at a 4 year. They're not talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. Even when I had class discussions in graduate school, I would like to do panels on it because and sit next to people who are talking about why you should start at a 4 year first, because it just doesn't make sense. If you now don't get me wrong, if you have the money, the funds, whichever term you want to use, to start at a 4 year and be comfortable the rest of the way, great. But even a student, I tell students that like things get different when you graduate high school. And excuse me, what that means is when things get different is that like you can't rely heavily on your parents. Like when I was making college decisions, when I was doing this myself, when I was starting at my 2 year, bridging to my 4 year, when I was in my undergraduate journey, I had to make decisions as if my parents wasn't there. Because I knew my mom, she'll help me. She helped me a lot. Not money wise, but shelter wise. She let me stay at her apartment while I got my college education. And I still had to pay rent, had to help out with the rent and the light bills. And so my dad helped with the confidence. He helped me believe I could do it when nobody else really could at the time. And so you have to realize that I want to make sure I'm not losing my train of thought. I lose it sometimes. I'm not gonna lose it. You have to realize that You were talking about the money. You have to realize that the money sometimes is not really the factor. It's going to be you're not. Well, it could be the factor. Yeah, we're talking about if you had the money. If you have the money as a college student, and but your parents have the money, if you do something that your parents don't like, your parents could renege on you, and that means like your parents had your interest, like helping you finish school. And I seen a lot of students say like, well, school wasn't a problem, but when I decided to join an organization at the school that my parents didn't support, um, they pulled the money from me. So your parents are like your what? You can say your scholarship. It's all about money, and you have to know how to distribute that money. It's not even about. I hope I said that right. I hope I said that right, guys. But it's all about how you distribute it because or distribute. I know it's like distribute. I'm gonna say distribute. I think that's how you say it. Distribute. It's all about how you distribute it because just like investing, if you have when you invest, I'm not a financial aid. I'm not financial. I'm not a financial advisor. But when I manage my retirement or investing, you want to have, I'm going to say retirement. When you do retirement, you want to have 25% here, 25% here, 25% here, 25% here, or 50% here and 50% here. It has to equate to 100%. But you want to be diversified. If you have 100% coming from your parents that you rely on for money to go to school, if something happens, like you have to keep your parents happy. You have to keep them happy. They would say, "Oh, I'm gonna make them suffer." Your parents would do that. Oh, yeah, I see that sunlight coming in. Hold on. We finally got sunshine. Finally got sunshine. Like Young Dolph says, sunshine. And so, ooh, that light hit right. I like that. Hold on. I like that lighting right there. I like that lighting a little bit how it's coming in. So, and we just having a good Friday talks, right? Like, yeah. You and plus, if your parents, once again, if you rely heavily on them, that can go bad. And students know what you want to do with your major. That goes into your scholarship money, right? Some scholarships are tied in. So like some people already know this in college. Like, I know that, but what about the people who are coming into college, or you might not know this and you're in college? You have to think about that. Your scholarship can be tied to your major. So if you're doing a specific major at a college, right? If you're doing a specific major at a college, and you accepted that scholarship to do that specific major, you gonna have some potential problems if you want to change majors. I would say, man, I don't even know the percentage, but I can ask. Let's see, right quick. Got this. That show the percentage student change majors. And I got another something happened with it said something with Hong Kong guys. It said Hong Kong or something is enrolling students. There's a Bloomberg post. Bloom. Okay. Students. I have it on my phone. I don't want to look at it. I should have sent it to myself as a screenshot. We're not going to worry about that though. Let's down topic. It should have presented now. Waiting for the computer to load. As we're on the computer to load, it's a high chance that, feel free to skip, that was a little wait time. And as we're waiting on the computer, yep, there you go, doing it again. Students, yeah, it's a high chance that students will change their major when they start college. Actually, after they're in college for a little bit. Don't ask me why, but students change majors. Like, I have talked to students before, and I was like, "You sure you're gonna do that major?" And they like, "Yeah," and then they'll get like to their sophomore or junior year, and they say, "I'm thinking about changing it because this, da da da." They figure out what they want to do more. That's why shout out to my 2 year. My 2 year, they was like, your first 2 years just focus on general studies because you're more likely than not going to change your major. They knew that. They're like, you're going to change your major. So we're not even going to put you in like, they might let me take one class in that program to see if I like it, but they're pretty much just like focus on your general, your gen ed. What is your gen ed classes? Your gen ed classes are like your math, English, art, history, physics, biology, all that is gen ed. What you did in K through 12, that's pretty much your gen ed classes. Then your junior and senior year, you're taking your actual what? Classes that actually prepare you for what? The job in the real world. That's how it goes usually. And it said, according to the National Center of Education Statistics, approximately 33% of bachelor degree students and 28% of associate degree students change their major within the first 3 years of enrollment. That's true. So it's a 33% chance that you're going to, when you're pursuing your bachelor's degree. I don't know why they separate it like that, because when I was getting my 2 year, I guess it makes sense. It is a separate statistic. So when I was at my 2 year and I was getting my associates, I changed my major like, I went over that statistic. I was like, I changed my major probably like close to 7 to 10 times, guys. I went from a CMS to a welder, from a welder to EMS, emergency medical specialist. I went from that, from an EMS to business management. I probably skipped some, but from business management to HR, and then that's already like CMS, welder, EMS. And I said business management. Then I said HR. That's 5 right there. I feel like I did it more than that, but like you can change it, but not be taking classes in it. And it was one of those situations. So definitely 7 to 10 for sure. And then when you get so close to being finished, don't change your major just on your own. Please talk to your advisor. I know some places you can change it, just change it. Please talk to your advisor, because if you get deep in your major, right? Let's say you get deep in your major. Let's say you're like in your junior year and you stayed in that same major. And let's say your junior year, you completed all your major program classes, right? For HR, human resources. If you try to go from, in your junior year, if you try to go from human resources to like the medical field, you're like gonna have to start over as a student. Like, so pretty much in that major, you might have to take some different prereqs. The prereqs, remember your prereqs are like what? Play the video back. Your prereqs can be different from the HR prereqs. Like HR requires you probably to take 4 English classes, and the medical field probably requires you to take 2 English classes, right? Or this is just an example, right? And so you have to keep that in mind when you try to go change your major. Like, nah, I don't want to do this no more because it's not in demand. Like, you see it through, talk to your advisor. And hopefully your advisor knows this and they know what they're doing. So when you hear from me, you know, like, okay. So be mindful of changing your major when you're getting deep into your junior and senior year. And it says an additional survey from best colleges. I cited them a little bit when I was in graduate school. in graduate school, 'cause I'm still in graduate school. I cited them a little bit. And so let's go to it. ChatGPT is amazing. It takes you to the actual website. And then, so it says 82% of it says 82% of degree holders think college was a good financial investment. We're not looking for that. We're looking for this. Despite this, 61% of college grads would change their majors if they could go back. 61% say they would change their majors. 61%, which means that, and they did this, they updated in 2023. So I'm gonna say they posted in 2023. This publication, and they always cite their information. That's why I love them a lot. And so, because like I said, higher education is flawed. A lot of information is old. Why? Because once again, you'll hear me say this a lot. The Higher Education Act has not been updated since 2007 or 2008. I always say that because I'm like, I don't know which one, but it's between that timeline, right before the housing crisis, I believe. That's the last time. And they're doing a lot of higher ed professionals who consider themselves higher ed professionals are doing a lot of, making so-called strategic moves and everything, but they're basing it off that, I believe. I would say that's like the heart of everything, right? And the heart of everything is old and it's not flowing like it should because it's outdated. And remember, my thesis is that college is becoming unaffordable, which will raise the value of college, and then which will create high demand for college, and then with a needy supply of students who would need to go to college. And so that's going to create the value of higher education. That's my thesis. I'm sticking with that because students can't, a lot of students are they're taking like military route. They're taking trade routes. They're taking quick money routes. Like a lot of them will work a job in the mall. A lot will take jobs at fast foods to pay for school or take on 2 jobs to pay for school. If they really hustling, they'll take on 3 jobs to pay for school. And the most I ever had was 2 jobs. Hint, hint, 2 jobs while being in school. And so, and that's just to remain comfortable while doing it. So we spoke on that. Let's go to our undergraduate. Undergraduates are earning. So if you're wondering, I like to get some posts off the internet, like from LinkedIn. My thumb hurt, guys. It hurts really bad. Shout out to the Good Friday. It's a Good Friday too. Um, I don't know what that is. That's something else. So undergraduates are earning. So I had did a little reading yesterday because I was like, there are not topics. There are no topics on here. Like nobody's posting. Like one thing about higher education is so slow sometimes, and it can be so fast sometimes. And so you have to find things to talk about sometimes. That's why I think it's a hard career field to be in if you're going to try to make it entertaining to students and parents and families and much more, right? But it really gets simple and you just start hearing it like, I'm gonna come to speaking on behalf channel so I can hear I need to start at a 2-year and bridge to a 4-year. I need to start at 2-year and bridge to a 4-year. And then you gonna hear some lunch, you're like, all right, I need to start asking him questions so he can start giving me some answers and stuff. Yeah, that's how it's gonna be. You're gonna have to start asking me something. So let's check the control room right quick. Well, y'all dropped in and dropped out. I get it. Whoever those 2 people were, you came in and came out. I get it. So when I was reading this article, it comes from the National Student Clearinghouse. It's a research center that research heavily, from where I know, they research heavily on higher education. Maybe they might do some high school stuff, but I use it for higher education. This was in 2023 to 2024 academic year. They said the numbers show that undergraduate earners are steadily rising. 3.2 million learners earned an undergraduate credential. 3.2 million students, learners, earned their undergraduate credential. And that's combined with associate's degree, bachelor's degree, and I don't think they really focused on, no, because graduate school is after undergraduate. So if you want to know more about that, ask me. But that's what, when you complete your, when you step out of high school, you step into college, that's your undergrad. Then when you graduate from undergrad, you join this new one called graduate school, and you'll start catching the familiar. You'll start getting familiar with it. Now we're gonna try to pronounce that word. So, of the 3.2 million, they said 58%. I'm gonna say 59. It's rounded. It's 59% earned a bachelor's degree. So I mean that was 1.9 million. As far as the associate's degree, that was bachelor's degree as the 25.1% earned associate's degree. And so that was a lot. That was like 821,400. Now, what I didn't find, a lot of research I never could find, and I used to look very thoroughly for this, is like, it's research on it, just not a lot of it. And so you can go right back in the circle. There's not that much on it. There are a lot of students, when you see that, you be like, well, the people who earn associates, did they go get their bachelors? So are they in both of the statistics? That'd be like my questions, right? That would be my question within the methodology. And so the methodology is like, or they call it it'd be the methodology, I believe the method of the paper. Oh, I'm having a brain fart. Usually, let's go look at it. We're just gonna call it the methodological. Is that the method? I'm definitely gonna pronounce that word right now. I'm gonna go for it. Let's go. So this is what I do, guys. So I type it in. Some words should be pronounced like methodology or methodological. That's how it should be, methodological, but it can be pronounced way completely different. And you'll be like, oh, I said that wrong. But I'm saying methodological notes. And so I said the students are still, undergraduates are earning. They're still earning. And what that means by they're earning, they're still getting their bachelor's, they're still getting their associates, not enrollment, this is different. But students are completing. The numbers were up. More than 3.2 million learners earned an undergraduate credential. And they said that 58% was the highest undergraduate award. And then for the associate's degree, we said that number. They said, what they said about that one? Okay, then they said certificate. They said the total number of undergraduate degree earners rose for the first time in 3 years. Plus 0.6%, almost 1%. And then they said, or 20,500 from a year earlier. People are still getting their degrees. Everybody said you don't need a degree. Everybody says is college in danger? Is higher education in trouble? No, they're not in trouble because people are still getting their education. Whether people are saying these headlines, oh, you shouldn't go to college, college is a waste of money, you don't learn anything. People are still going to college. So if you believe that college is worthless, not helpful, all the above, right? You should know this. You should be aware. Well, I'm telling you this, so you don't have to know it. I'm telling you. People are still going to college. People are still enrolling in. People are still getting the associates. They getting the bachelor's. Some people get the bachelor's, then get the associates, then get the bachelor's. It just goes back and forth. What do I want to say from this? I'm saying that you should go to college. Ooh, it's a little bright in here now. you should go to college. Why? Because going to college is fundamentally great for your mind. Not you should go to college because I have to go. Some people do go because they have to go, which is nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their reason or purpose, right? But you should go because you get to learn. You get to read books. You get to, for a person who, like I said before, for a person who's in special education, can read, comprehend, whew, you start to appreciate the books out there that gives you information. Or like when you need to know something, you can just go to a book and learn it instead of going to sometimes, or just knowing how to look up something on the internet, like going on ChatGPT. Like I'm teaching myself how to operate ChatGPT, but I know how I learn. I expanded my mind. Like I remember I could not watch a video that was, people say this, but I remember I could not watch a video for like an hour. I thought, I was like, who's gonna watch me talk? Not me talk, but who's gonna watch a video that's like an hour? Because you know people make long videos when they screen, it'd be like for an hour or 2 hours. And I felt my mind expand. Now, when I was at my 2 year, I wasn't really that focused in. I used to watch probably videos that last 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes max. So anything under 30, I was good. As I kept reading over time, got to my 4 year. Still, I stretched it probably to like extra 10 minutes. I was getting closer. Then when I started graduate school, because remember I said in graduate school, we had to sit in classes. We have to sit in classes where we meet once a month, and I had to listen to my professor talk for 3 hours, like 3 hours straight. Like, or then if he's not talking for 3 hours, then I'm talking to my peers, but I'm moving my voice for 3 hours. I'm not just in there. Like, we gonna have questions. He makes it engaging. We talking, or he or she, they talking. They make it engaging. So you have to, and then your mind just naturally expands, right? And then now, when I leave that, I remember it was like yesterday. I was like, dang, I could watch a full video on this. I could watch a whole hour of this. Now, I can just watch an hour long of something. Now, if it's not interesting or I feel like it ain't gonna benefit me in some form or fashion, like it can help me in life, I will not watch it for an hour or however that long that hour. 2 hours, I'm there. I say I'm there in 2 hours. I'm there, but for sure an hour. And so that's what college has done for me. College has, you could say, brighten my mind to learn, know how to learn, and realize common sense. Just realize common sense. Sometimes we overthink things when we go to college. They teach us how to overthink. I was always an overthinker. So my goal was to apply the common sense. Like some things, sometimes you look at jobs and you think it's hard. It's not really hard. It's just they make it look hard. And then you just apply your common sense, like, do this. Like technology, don't fight the technology. I tell people, be with the technology. Technology is supposed to do with whatever your creative mind wants to do, that's what it can do. You want it to be like, it should be able to do this. I remember, I ain't gonna go into that rant, but that's gonna be a whole nother one. So undergraduates are still earning. So when you hear that stigma, oh, nobody's going to college, people are going to college. It's steadily rising. People are going to college. In fact, I think another one I have in theory is like, not stats, but in theory is that we getting too many people educated. So when too many people get educated, it's making what? The college value is making a higher your is making your degree or being educated, it's making your value go down. Like everything moves in supply and demand. Econ 101. You take that. That's a prerequisite. Everything moves in cycles. And so shout out to Al. Alex told me that. And so Alex was like, everything moves in cycles. Like higher education for me or anybody, higher education probably is not in demand right now. So guess what? A lot of people don't really appreciate it or need you right now. So it's like, pew. And so there's not no demand for it. So you don't, when there's not demand, it can be a lot of supply, but it's not a lot of demand. So we don't need all of you all. Let's slice you all. or like people portraying their own view on it, like the new administration, right? They're saying we have too many people pretty much going to college. We need people to do trades. We don't have enough people doing trades. They're not saying that, but they're framing it as like, look, you can go get a trade and make this amount of dollars out the gate. What they're not telling you, with a trade, it's not all peaches and cream. You are going to work. You're going to be outside. You're going to be working in the rain. You're going to be working in the heat. I was a welder for a year because I say I was a welder for a year because while I was getting the hands-on experience, I wasn't getting paid, but I was doing the hands-on experience at my 2 year. And so I had a locker and everything. I had the helmet, I had the gloves, I had the goggles, I was like an oven mitt because it's supposed to protect me from the fire. I'm really playing with fire every day. And so when I was doing it, I was doing I'm gonna show y'all some welding terminology. I was doing my beads. I was laying them beads down. I'm like, and then that's when I learned about recycling metal. We recycle metal to create more welds and to keep doing that. So those trailers you see on the back of trucks, not the RV like trailers or whatever, like those, not those, but like a trailer where you see people it's like wood on the bottom and then it's like metal around it. Those, you can make a trailer with welding. I remember this kid, he was in high school. I wonder is he still welding. He went to high school. He was in high school while doing this. He was like, man, yeah, my senior project, I gotta he said, I'm gonna make a trailer. I said, a trailer? He was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a trailer. Real calm, real quiet. And he made a trailer. He made the trailer. I was like, and somebody was gonna buy that trailer. And I was like, that's dope. And he had that real life skill to make a trailer. And so welding, all we did was practice beads all day. Like the same hours you put in working, we was doing that for 8 hours straight. And so my hands got pretty steady. It was getting, well, I'm not right-handed, I'm left-handed. So my hand was getting pretty steady, like just, it taught me patience. And then I was getting tired though. I was like, man, this is a lot, just to be working. We did tours too. They was taking us to manufacturers who was gonna need welders. It was a lot. And so, like my eyes were good. Nothing was wrong with my eyes, but over time, your eyes do kind of go bad looking at that spark because you wear the helmet. What that helmet does, it teaches you to see see where you're going, and so that's how bright everything is. But that's what they're saying. That's why I want to keep in mind when everybody's trying to do a trade. And if you can do the trade and you don't mind working through all different types of seasons outside, I didn't want to work outside personally. I went to school and I said, if I'm going to school, I'm staying indoor. So when a tornado hit, I'm not outside. And so that's me. But some people are different. And I felt like that's real critical because that's what they're trying to move toward. That's what the administration currently, the Trump administration, they want to get more, what's that word? They want to get more people in trades. They want to try to bring back this manufacturing. And I don't know, because people TikToking and all the other stuff. I don't do that. I don't know what that is. I don't even got that on my phone. And so as I keep in mind, I wasn't on social media for 5 or 6 years. So when that came along, I tried to do it for the business, it didn't work out. TikTok it was too fast for me. I wasn't really like, And so undergraduates are earning. And so that's pretty much all we got on that one. And I got a little stat for y'all. How has that number of completers changed over time? So once again, guys, so from 2015 to 16, this is all completers, first-time completers. So first-time completers, if I'm not mistaken, guys, let's see if they got it in here. They usually have like, what's a first-time completer? I have to remind myself of who's a first-time completer sometimes. When I hear first-time completer, I read that yesterday. So a first-time completer is someone, obviously it's in the name. A first-time completer is someone who is just getting their degree or should be getting their degree the first time, like their very first time getting their degree. Because sometimes all completers can be people who already got a bachelor's, associates, and they're just, they can be advancing their education or going back to school. First-time completer is like, It's my first time in college, and I completed on my first try, which is good. So let's see. I'll leave that alone. We're gonna leave it alone because that's gonna take a little minute of us looking and blah blah blah. And you got the gist of it. It's rising. It might pull. It had its pullbacks during the years, but it's coming back up. It has some pullbacks, but it's coming back up. It's going to rise. It's rising back up. Not going to. It is rising back up. And so, but I do say if they don't make changes to higher education, you're going to have a lot more people. They might still earn, but they're not going to be earning at a higher rate that they could, a higher percentage, right? So they still have to work on that. And this was from 2023 to 2024. So of course we're in 2025, and we have to wait for 2025, 2026 to get the new data. So, and then I said, and then I also, I said, why worry about the cost, right? Why worry about the cost? And so, a lot of people don't know that when you, if people keep earning, why should colleges worry about prices? If nobody's going to talk about it or pressure the colleges about um, pressure the colleges about prices, because prices are rising as more people are, as we said, are going to school. Did I say persons? As more people are going to school, why worry about if higher education is going to rise? And so I do tell you all, I'm talking this much because nobody is in the chat. It's okay, but nobody's in the chat, so we have to I don't have a conversation with myself. I don't have people commenting. I be telling them to comment, but they be like, gotta get them to come. Gotta get them off the distractions. The funny entertainments and all that. Gotta get some information. So why worry about the cost when why worry about the cost when students are still going to go? Students are not going to check their prices. Students only want to go to have fun in college. They don't really care to get their degree. Like, I remember it was a time when college was supposed to rehabilitate you a little bit. You're like, whoa, rehabilitate? I'm like, yeah, rehabilitate. Because when I was at my 2 year, the one thing I noticed from my 2 year to my 4 year was how everybody dressed. And I'm all for dressing comfortable and all for dressing like you don't need to wear a suit and tie all the time. But you do need to know when to put a suit and tie on. Don't mean me. So I'm all for it when you have to know when to put a suit and tie on, right? Or like me, I don't even wear a tie that much, but you need to know when to put a suit on, right? And or just look the part when you go into campus. I feel like that helped me out a lot. Now, in the next 10 years, because in the next 10 years, I'll be 36. So, or 37. So, eventually we are supposed to be the leaders, right? In career fields, like officially the leaders. Are we going to care about how we dress? Are we going to be like, hey, you should just wear, um, you could dress how you want to dress, but when we need to wear a suit, collar shirt, business casual, wear that. But other than that, I'm okay with how you dress. But you got to wear shoes. You have to wear shoes. You can't wear flip flops. It's gonna be very interesting, right? Because I know our generation is very like comfortable. I'm a Gen Zer, so our generation is like very comfortable, very like flamboyant with things, and so I had to I had to remind people of that. Like, how will we be dressing in the future? Like, but to stay on topic, my 2 year was big on when I came to class, how I dressed. Because everybody in my class, besides like people who's in the medical field who were like nurses and stuff, and different career fields. Cause nurses, they used to wear their nursing outfits, or they would get ready to be there. They was wearing their nursing outfits or medical assistant outfits. And so everybody else though, who was just going to classes like regular potential business students, they would just come with hoodies on, and then nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is complete. Everything is okay. I didn't mind it, but I wasn't really. I was going to impress. I was going to make connections early. Once I was getting the game from my mentor, I was trying to make connections early. So I used to go, and plus I was working. I was working, then I go to class. So I used to dress with a collar shirt, some slacks or jeans, depending on what I'm wearing, to make it look good. And I had some brown dress shoes. Forget the black dress shoes. Brown dress shoes beat any black dress shoes yet. You can wear brown with black, brown with blue, brown with gray, brown with pink. Brown just go with everything. So I was all about the brown dress shoes. And black just didn't look that good to me personally. It just didn't. Black just didn't look that good. And so this is interesting. I like this. I got a new topic real quick, guys, to talk about a little bit. And so why worry about the cost? And so students don't look at prices. Parents don't look at prices. Athletes don't look at prices when they're going to college. Nobody looks at the prices until they have to pay the bill later. When you got Linda McMahon and the Department of Education knocking on your door saying they want their money, then it's a problem. Or you're gonna have these big banks coming and knocking on your door, I want my money. And so they're trying to figure that out because they're not gonna keep letting people take money and not pay it back. That's not how it goes. Now, we all know how to feel about that ultimately, but that's just not how it's gonna go. It's gonna get harder. So one of the this is from Inside Higher Ed. They have a lot of followers type stuff. And their career advice is eliminate the structured interview. Structured interviews are flat and dehumanizing and risk missing what really matters for job performance. Somebody right. Margaret, do not pronounce her last name. Gray or Gray Box. Very hard last name to pronounce. I'm not that type of person to pronounce last names like on the fly. Like, ooh, I can pronounce that. So she said, job interviews have become seemingly more structured, predictable. And then it says, employers seem to increasingly favor standardized or structured interviews in which each applicant is presented with the same questions in the same order with no variation permitted. Now, I have a lot to say about that. I don't even have to read the rest of this to understand her opinion. This is very opinionated. It's an opinion or a blog. Yeah, it's an opinion. It's career advice. So she said, over the past years, I have had almost 20 such interviews for faculty positions, almost exactly identical as if the questions were read from a script. I'm thinking these professionals, at least in higher education, but professionals in different jobs, they get these interview questions probably from ChatGPT at this point. And structured interviews, I don't like structured interviews either. Because you want like this type of, as I tell professionals, you want this type of like creativity, right? Create something where eventually we gonna get like one person in here consistently, and two in here consistently, and three, then five, then 10 in here consistently, where we're building a community where it's okay to talk about higher education. It's okay to talk about what's going on. It's okay to talk about blah, 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 blah. But higher education, people are so scared who work in this career field to give you information you need because they don't want to lose their jobs. A lot of times, a lot of professionals in this career field don't make a lot of money until they get to the exec level of higher education. Why they're worried? To give you information that can help you. Because if they give you the information that's helping them, they're afraid that it's going to take money away from the institution if multiple people start finding out. So then that hurts them climbing up the ladder in higher education. So they asking these traditional low level questions and like getting, if you ask the type of person I am, if you ask me a simple question, I give you a simple answer. If you ask me an advanced and very thought provoking question, I give you a thought provoking answer to see how deep my mind could go. For a person who's getting a master's degree, some of the questions they asked, it was better with an associate's degree because nothing really changed. Higher education is a career field. You learn. It's not, you can go to school for it, but it's something you just learn every day. Higher education changes like any other career field, I believe. It changes with the wind, and you have to stay updated. The only career field that might not change is history. You can change the course of history in the moment. Like, this is history. As soon as we get done with this, it's history. It's locked. It's locked in, right? And so, traditional interviews, like, because you're going to be in a career. Eventually, you're going to lead the speaking on behalf community and be like, yeah, I listened to Henry back in 2025. I listened to Henry back in 2025, and you're going to graduate in 2030. And you're going to be like, Henry saved me this much money because he was telling me started 2 year versus a 4 year. He was telling me to make connections with the professionals in college. And then graduate, when I walked across the stage, I had everything I need in place. So I didn't, and then you're like, do I need to watch him still? No, but I can pass it on to the next kid that's going to come. It's kids every day going to college. There are kids every day enrolling in college. And college will be around when I leave the earth, when you leave the earth, when everybody leaves. College is never going anywhere because it's an invaluable tool that everyone needs in life. It's not even like higher education is not, I gotta do it. It's a necessity. You should want to do it and need to do it. I did exactly what I need to. Is it back? I hope I'm back. I hope I'm back. Let me go check. We back. We had some spikes in there. We look like we back. We look like we back. Yeah, we back. Okay. It had frozen for a second, guys. And so, yeah, you're gonna need that career advice, right? Am I a career expert? No, but I took a class on it in graduate school and in undergraduate. Um, yeah, career advice. My career advice for you is that sometimes it's getting to the point where you know people and that doesn't even work no more. Like, people rather, like, if they know you, they rather watch you from the distance and then give you opportunity. Like, the word of mouth connection is kind of like, it's not what it used to be like, oh, I know you and I'll bring you in. That's kind of, it's been, I don't know what happened with that, but it's been a very, like, I don't think it's going well. More people are not, they're not likely to just hand you a job no more. You still have to like interview, you still have to demonstrate you can do this because it's them who looks bad when they recommend you. And usually what I don't get about jobs, a lot of times when it's a job that's not even entry level and it's something they have to teach you sometimes, could be wrong on this. But once again, we don't have no experts in here who are career advisors because that's in higher education as well. That's a whole section for that. But as I like to tell people, speak your truth. If you know you need to be conservative for a job, be conservative. Um, when I go into an interview, you think I talk like this about higher education? I talk about the student loan debt and how it needs to change. So I do bring that up, but if they don't like that, I can't do nothing about that. Um, they either hire me or they don't. Like I said, guys, I'm just like you. I'm a normal guy right now. Always been a normal guy. I'll be a normal guy when I'm not doing this. And so, normal is better, safer at that too. And so, it's just, yeah, interviews are very cringe. Like, I know you don't know as much as me, but you're asking me these questions, obviously. And it's not, then that's a little conceited, yeah, but it's like, hmm, yeah, yeah. hmm That was pretty good. I like that one. Let's check the Department of Education. Department of Education. And guys, if you was in the chat, I could look up your school. Remember, go after this video is posted, go into the description and check the description. We put the college scorecard in there. And what is the college scorecard? The college scorecard is by the Department of Education. It's where you can search any college that you want to go to. Make sure it's your right college, and then it'll show you like the graduation rate, the average annual cost, what you're looking at to pay for the year at the school, and then what you could make, the median income, or median, they're gonna say median earnings, but like it's pretty much like what you can potentially make when graduating. Now, when it says median, that's usually what you can start with upon graduating college, based on what your school is saying. But you might not start off with that number, but you should work your way into that number. That's what your school is saying. So I think you should go look at this college scorecards by the U.S. Department of Education. Go ahead and look at the school, know your facts, because when you're on that college tour, that's a recruiting moment. You need to be asking them all the questions you can on the college recruitment tour. Because if you ain't asking questions and they don't know the answer to your question, that's a red flag. So if the school is saying the average annual cost, like if you ever notice, all colleges are gonna have like your cost is for the year. It says annual, so your cost for the year is what we talked about. It might be 31,000 for the year. So you're looking at, I kept my calculator up right now just for this. If you're looking at 31,000 for the year, I'm pretty sure that includes, that's just an example. If you do 31,000 divided by 2, that's 15,500. What you're looking at for your 2 semesters of school in fall and spring, not including summer. And so you need to realize, like, if I'm paying that much for school, because like what I like to do, I like to say 31,000 times 4, because over the next 4 years, times 4 is what, $124,000 for your whole college education. But if you stand on campus, that's about right, like I talk about. And so they're saying, oh, your income is going to be your median income if you get that out of school, depending on your major. They don't never mention that. You have to think about your major and what's in demand when you graduate. If you pay $124,000 for school, and the income that you're projected to make is $89,000, and I'm not a finance major. A finance person will break this down like to the T that you're going to be losing a lot of money out the gate. So you're going to have to put everything on pause and delay everything, starting a family. You're going to have to delay getting a new vehicle. You're going to have to delay getting a house. You're going to have to delay all these things just to pay back the student loans. And not to mention, if you get it from a private lender, the interest rate on that is going to be crazy, unless the private lender offers like a fixed interest rate. So, and just to do this again, I haven't clipped it yet. Remember, your institution has a bank. Like your institution has a partnership with a bank. It's called the preferred lender arrangement. So keep that in mind. So your school, ABC, might have a connection with Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, whoever. So that is that, and we are at 63. An hour. If we can get anything else, that would be great. I don't really see much about higher education this morning. It's 10:07. The stock market has opened at 9:30. For all my people in the stock market, I hope you are. It's always exciting to see the market open. So we just got one of them. I just seen this post again. Scientific community fears for future of STEM workforce overhaul. The National Science Foundation says major budget cuts, restructuring, and priority changes are designed to build a more robust STEM workforce. But experts say the changes, and they stopped it right there. Let's talk about that. Y'all got me on this Good Friday, so let's talk about it. What is this about? Experts say the changes, which include axing education-related programs, will have the opposite effect. So Eric Jacobson, an associate professor of mathematics education at the Indiana University. So a lot of professors, guys, when you see these professors who speak on topics, they're experts. Really, they're experts. So if you see like a professor from Indiana, Michigan, UGA, community college, if you see that, that's rare. But these are professors who have PhDs. They studied and did their PhD study in this, and they continuously update their work. They are very like they're better than some people you might see who make a lot of money in the world, but they prefer to be an educator. So um, they said nearing the end of a years-long project designed to address teacher biases with the goal of helping more students excel in math and pursue STEM careers, but that all stopped several weeks ago when the National Science Foundation notified him that he had been terminated. He had been terminated a grant, so a lot of professors get grants to do these studies and focus on these studies. And so this National Science Foundation notified him that he was terminated of a grant because it was not in alignment with the current agency priorities. Now, if they're talking about the current agency priorities, I'm assuming they're talking about the Department of Education or the Trump administration. So the Jacobson Grant, which funded multiple graduate students and a postdoc, who all now in limbo, is far from the only STEM education focused grant the National Science Foundation recently canceled. Of the approximately 1,500 grants, the agency recently terminated at least 750 National Science Foundation NSF's education directorate. I don't know how they worded that. Of the approximately 1,500 grants, the agency recently terminated. At least 750 at least 750 came from the NSF's education direct. They came from the NSF pretty much. And so, boop, boop, it gets detail about the Congress, created it in 1950. The slashing going on. What about the Trump administration? The Trump administration has laid off staff and proposed slashing the agency's budget, of course. So the real question is, how does this affect students? So I said a little bit about it in one of the streams. When you cut the grants, when you cut the funding of grants to be done, these grants, so you have professionals in higher education who write grants. They write grants. That's all they do. They write grants. They take the money from the grants and they carry out that money from the grant is what's used to conduct research, hire people who want to do this research, much more, right? So if you cancel the grants, people can't do their research and advance the research. So your research might stop at like, it's 2025. You might not see no research in STEM workforce until a new administration come in. So then you have to be updated on back research. Just give you an example, right? Because it can't advance unless somebody else gonna fund it. Like a very wealthy person is gonna be like, here, I want y'all to keep the work going, I'll fund it. But that's usually how it goes. And so it says right here, the NSF sends billions to colleges and universities to support STEM education and non-medical scientific research. So this is why I said, like, some people, some people have their opinion, like me, some people have their opinion that, oh, that's impossible with technology going and how is technology coming and advancing. It's going to be hard for students to go back to trades. Well, if you stop the research on STEM and you don't advance STEM and how it can be best to go into the technology, and there's no updated research on STEM, then people are going to go back to trades. It's that simple. People are going to go back to trades. They're going to be doing what is presented because there's no research on it. So a lot of parents do their research, guys. I did notice the difference in that. Parents who really care about their kids' education, they research these schools. Like they really look at the return on investment. So I know there's a lot of parents mad about return on investment in college because, yeah. And then if all the money is going into trades, then people are going to go where the money is at. Like If I need money, I'm gonna go get a trade and be like, I gotta keep up with the times. Like when the internet came, you think people was like, no, I'm not adjusting with the internet, and the internet kept advancing, people kept pumping money into it. Then it was like people got left behind who still wanted to do trades, and then technology like cybersecurity, coding, and all that stuff started taking over the trade jobs. And so now you have more people in tech than trade. It makes sense, right? It makes sense. I'm following. You following? I'm following. So that's just a little bit on that. I think this is is this a factual? This is news. So this is science and research policy. So for all my people who out there in science and research, please comment or show this to them because they're probably going through it right now. People who lose jobs who might be in the science career field that grant was funding their job. So it's hard out here for people in higher education. There's being like boom, boom, boom. But that's why I say higher education makes so much money from sports. It doesn't make sense why they can't just be like, hey, a basketball program, a football program, can you fund us and take care of us through these hard times? Because the Trump administration is not playing. They taking them out one by one. They're not talking about it. That's why you know they're getting attacked. So, and you know at the end, we got to do a college. We got to look at college presidents. It's 7 and 1. So, does anybody have a college they want to recommend? I usually at the end, I like to look up college presidents' salaries. So, does anybody have a college they want to recommend where we look up the president of an institution? We don't even look up the president. We look up the salaries from, it starts from 2010 to 2013. If not, I will look up another school. And since we looked at that recent school, they just said in that article, they make sure nobody commented before we head out. Nobody commented yet, so I'm going to look at Indiana University. Why? Because that's the school I just saw in that article. And their funding is in trouble, so this is going to be interesting, right? And by the way, this is on the Chronicles of Higher Education. This is not even me saying this and making this up. This is somebody else believes presidents, I guess, or execs in college make too much. So, do they make too much though? That's a good topic. Maybe we should bring some college presidents on so they could talk about and justify why they make that much. It might help their enrollment. It might get them some better employees, I guess, because none of them employees are messing with me. None of them. Let me stop. So, Indiana, not Indiana State. I didn't even know it was an Indiana State University. Ew. There's multiple of them. Why is there multiple? Indiana. Copy and paste. Give me a few seconds, y'all. We almost there. This is in Bloomington, Indiana. So, from 2010, they were making, so the presidents at Indiana University at Bloomington, y'all probably know them as the red school with the, it look like a candle, the candlesticks. I know they like the candlesticks, you hold them like that. That's what that school looks like. Very good basketball program too. From 2010, the president started making $425,000 as a base salary. And then from 2010, they still was making 400 and something in 2011. Oh, they got a bonus of 99,000 as well in 2011. 2010, 2011, they making about 400 to 500,000. Then from 2012 to 2015, they was making about 500 and some thousand. But in between that time, they had other compensation of $300 and some $1,000. So that's like 800 and some thousand in 1 year. And then they had some bonuses. They got a bonus every year. How do you get a bonus? I just got a question. I'm entry level when I work in higher education. I ain't never got a bonus. How they get bonuses? I'm just asking. You don't gotta explain. I'm just asking. Like, just tell me. Don't explain it. Just tell me how. And then, and on top of a bonus, they got some other compensation. So that 600,000 in 2016. So in 2016, they had 600,000 as a base salary. Then in 2016, again, they got other compensation, which is 906,000 right there, on top of a bonus in 2016. So they made like $1 million. 1 million in 2016, a college president. Shout out to them. 2016 to 2016, 2017, they was making 600 or some thousand. They probably changed presidents, usually when it drops like that. So it went back from 600 and some thousand to 420,000 in 2018. So that's interesting. Probably got a new president, or maybe they did. I know a lot of some presidents actually cut their salary back, I guess, to help with enrollment. Sometimes they'll cut their salary because they know they're making too much. 2019 it fell lower to 391,000, and then in 2020 they made this. In 2020, that's pandemic year, they was making 437,000, but in other compensation they made 356,000, which is about 700 some thousand, 800 some thousand, and then they made about 88,000. They made about 88,000 in bonus in 2020. So Indiana president, Indiana president is not even the highest paid. The presidents are not the highest paid. So here, for 2020, they said how much did the other highly compensated individuals earn at Indiana University at Bloomington. It says Lauren K. Roble, she's the provost. She made 892,000 in 2020. And then the associate dean of medicine made about 591,000. Then the Waldemar Polio, he's a clinical professor. Shout out to him for dentistry. He made 563,000. And then Lawrence Works, this is all at Indiana University at Bloomington. Then another clinical professor, they made 548,000. So once again, it's a lot of money in higher education. They might drive a Honda, they might drive a Nissan, they might drive a Toyota, and they might drive a old school 1970 car or something, classic. Once again, it's a lot of money in higher education. You played yourself. If you thought higher education didn't have money, you played yourself. So once again, they the best sellers. Higher education got the best seller. We sell better than car salesmen. We sell better than bankers. We sell better than all of them. Why? Because we can get you to enroll in a $100,000 school and you don't even make $100,000 yet. We can do that. It's not even boasting. It's very psychology based. Passive selling. I like to call it passive selling. People think selling is about being aggressive. They're passive selling tactics to sell somebody on something. So yeah, you played yourself. And not you played yourself if you didn't think higher education had money. That's what I mean. Like, they have a lot of money. Too much money. So that's why I jumped into this market, because it's $1 trillion market. I want a piece of that trillion. Shoot, I better start y'all up a screen talking about higher education. That's a lot of money. $1 trillion? I got to get a piece of it somehow. So that's all. Happy Friday, happy weekend. Schedule gonna be a little different next week. Work stuff. Can't speak on much of that. Work stuff. And then we will be on when we be on, but we will be consistent. Videos will be posted. So I will see y'all next week.